You might ask yourself, what happens when the day comes where karma knocks on the door of the department belonging to the Thin Blue Line gang? Well, the Thin Blue Line doesn't like it, and they gang up to intimidate the guy who karma used to mete out just a little bit of, and I'm going to put this in quotes, justice. Apparently, something just happened yesterday where a man whose 18-year-old was shot by police ended up killing another police officer with his vehicle. We're going to play some of these, and we're going to take a look at what the Cincinnati Police Department reaction was to this.
Recently retired sheriff's deputy is dead after police say a driver intentionally hit him. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Tricia Mackey.
And I'm Rob Williams. Cincinnati police say the driver is the father of an 18-year-old who was shot and killed by police yesterday.
We have been following this story all day, and we have team coverage tonight.
Allie Hennard is at UC Medical Center.
Brady Williams attended a procession for the deputy.
But first, let's send it over to Allie with more on how this all unfolded.
Now, notice it's a procession for the deputy who was killed, but you never see a police procession for people that their gang killed. Karen Garner, Daniel Shaver, James Boyd, Kelly Thomas, Philando Castile. The list goes on and on.
The deputy lost his life to those injuries here at UC Medical Center earlier today. Now, we do know, according to Cincinnati Police Chief Teresa Thigi, the driver of the vehicle that hit and killed the deputy was the father of the man killed in an officer-involved shooting yesterday. Now, police say that he's been arrested for aggravated murder.
Driver.
Now, before we get to what this police chief says, I got to break this up a little bit because ABC News, CBS, it seems like they're giving copyright strikes or community guideline strikes lately. But it says the city of Cincinnati is looking for answers after two high-profile killings on consecutive days. On Thursday, city police fatally shot an armed, they say armed. Now, when we get reports from fake stream media, it comes through the liaison of the police department, and they, we know, are trained to lie. How reliable do you think their reporting is? And then it's filtered through fake stream media. How much truth are we actually getting? Was this 18-year-old actually armed, or was there a drop gun involved in this situation? Shot an armed 18-year-old as he ran from them, and the next day, long-serving sheriff's deputy Larry Henderson was hit and killed by a car that authorities say was driven by the young man's grieving father. The father, 38-year-old Rodney Hinton Jr., is charged with aggravated murder. And we're going to see his court appearance here where no less than 30 or 40 Cincinnati Police Department agents showed up. Why? To protect Rodney or to make a show of intimidation? Let's get back to this story here.
Of today's vehicle that struck a deputy has a family relationship with the 18-year-old that we shot yesterday.
We shot his kid. We took his kid's life. Now he took one of our own's life. And then they have the gall to show up in this courtroom. Wait till you see how many of them there are when the camera pans as he enters the room.
Cincinnati police say the father of the 18-year-old who was shot and killed by Cincinnati police on Thursday was driving the car that hit and killed a deputy Friday afternoon.
Now, keep in mind, the deputy or the officer that was killed by Hinton is not the guy who shot his son. Not the guy who shot his son.
Rodney Hinton Jr. is now charged with aggravated murder for the deputy's death.
Medical. We need this shut down right now. Officer down, officer down.
Cincinnati police say the deputy was
Man,
directed.
they will come running code 3. They'll bring every EMT, every first responder, they'll bring to the scene as quickly as possible. But when it's you struggling to breathe, when it's you trying to make the last grasp at survival, they kind of drag their feet, don't they? There's not the same kind of love and care and compassion for us as they have for the fellow Thin Blue Line cult.
Traffic ahead of UC's graduation ceremony when he was struck by a vehicle entering the intersection. It happened around 1 p.m. at the intersection of Martin Luther King Drive and Burnett Woods Drive.
Now, this story right here is going to focus on what happened with Rodney Hinton Jr. and him killing that cop. But I just want to kind of hone in on what actually happened with the teen. The family of Ryan Hinton is demanding answers about his death, which happened just weeks after he celebrated his 18th birthday. Wright described the teen as fun-loving and a good kid. They always do that. I don't know if this is the truth either, okay? I don't know what kind of person he was, but he was involved in some pretty shady stuff with some pretty shady friends who were doing some pretty bad stuff like stealing cars, and said the family was surprised to learn of the circumstances around his encounter with police. The family reviewed police body camera footage on Friday morning, hours before Hinton's father allegedly struck and killed the sheriff's deputy. Wright told the Cincinnati Enquirer that the father was very distraught after seeing the footage. Wright said of Hinton's father, he couldn't finish watching the video. Wright told CNN that he has filed a public records request for more details. At this point, we're still investigating ourselves and the circumstances of Ryan being shot and killed by the Cincinnati Police Department. The family's pretty upset, pretty distraught about what happened to their son. This is a horrific tragedy on both sides. This family lost their son, and this police officer lost his life. Rodney Hinton Jr. was arraigned on Saturday. Prosecutors said that he, quote, in a way that was calculated and premeditated, lined up his car, deliberately accelerated his car, and purposely caused the death of an on-duty deputy sheriff. Same could be said about the Arvada Police Department. They purposely lined up their sights after they were saved by Johnny Hurley from a mad gunman, and they ended Johnny Hurley, the true hero on the scene. They ended his life. They aimed their sights at poor Daniel Shaver, who was doing his best to try to obey the commands of Philip Brailsford and his Mesa Police Department henchmen, and they still ended Daniel Shaver's life. And Philip Brailsford, the trigger man, was acquitted. Nothing enrages the public more than injustice brought to us by the Thin Blue Line gang. A day earlier, Cincinnati Police Chief, the Teresa chick that we just saw, held a news conference to release details and officer body cam footage from the fatal shooting of 18-year-old Ryan Hinton. The police chief emphasized that just 6 quick seconds passed from the time Hinton and 3 others attempted to flee arrest when the deadly shots were fired. Officers found the 4 men in a stolen vehicle in a parking lot in Cincinnati's East Price Hill neighborhood, this police chief said, and observed Hinton appearing to hold a gun as he ran away. Okay, so he had a gun in his hand. According to the police chief, he was running away, and all of a sudden he loses his life. Body camera footage shows an officer shouting, "He's got a gun, he's got a gun, on your right, on your right." Now, we've seen from other police officers, specifically a female police officer in the comment section under one of my videos, that said that they are trained to say that so they can cover their bases because they're wearing body cams. And if they can say he's got a gun, then that justifies the fear that caused them, the fearful cops, to pull the trigger and end somebody's life. So they're basically taught to say that, according to this one female officer, or former female officer. Moments later, the footage shows the teen emerging from between 2 dumpsters, and another officer fires multiple shots. Remember, he emerged from between 2 dumpsters. Let's say he did have a gun. He was running away from the officers, according to the police chief. That officer, a 10-year veteran assigned to the Fugitive Apprehension Squad, is believed to have fired 4 to 5 shots, 2 of which struck the boy. 4 to 5 shots? Well, what? Didn't you investigate? Don't you know if it was 4 or 5? Why aren't you specific? What's going on? And the gun that you picked up at the scene, was it a drop gun? Officers tried to, quote, save the gentleman's life by administering different variations of medical aid until paramedics arrived. The officer who shot him said afterward, "It looked like the young man's gun was pointed. It looked like it was pointed at me." What did Amber Geiger say? "I thought he was in my apartment. I was fearing for my life." The officer felt threatened for his life, and that's why he discharged his firearm. But the officer's body camera footage, of course, does not clearly show the teen pointing the gun. This police chief acknowledged that the footage is it's a very blurry image due to the camera's jolting movement during the pursuit. Police later recovered a handgun with an extended clip? An extended clip. You mean an extended magazine? They say they can't even get that right, guys. How do you trust CNN? How do you trust any police office or police force or police department? They recovered a handgun with an extended magazine. They say Hinton had been had been carrying. The gun had not been fired, the chief said. So was it a drop gun? Let's get back to this. This specifically right here is about this kid's father running over this 33-year veteran with the Cincinnati Police Department.
UC's campus.
I think what is significant for people to know about this accident is the officer was just out doing his job, directing traffic up near the University of Cincinnati for what was supposed to be a glorious day for many.
After 2 critical incidents in 2 days, Chief DG made a plea to the public.
They were just doing their job. Not just about traffic patrol, but they were just doing, yeah, I know they shot you, but you know, they were just doing their job. They were just doing their job. Let me just show you a couple of stories from the Cincinnati area that has to do with people losing their lives at the hands of Cincinnati cops. In 2001, it says, well, let's go back to 2000. An honorably discharged Army sergeant, Owensby, was mistaken for a drug dealer. He was placed in a chokehold, maced, and allegedly beaten while in custody, leading to his death. Officers were tried and acquitted, fueling distrust, of course. 2001, Timothy Thomas, a 19-year-old unarmed black man. Thomas was shot by Officer Stephen Roach in Over the Rhine after fleeing from the officer due to traffic warrants. Roach claimed Thomas reached for his waistband, but no weapon was found. The shooting sparked the 2001 Cincinnati riots with protests over systemic racism and police brutality. Roach was charged with negligent homicide, but acquitted. And you wonder why people are so upset at you, Cincinnati Police Department and police departments all over the nation. You wonder why people don't shed a tear when Uncle Karma comes knocking at your door. 43-year-old unarmed black man, Sam Dubose, was shot in the head by the University of Cincinnati police officer Ray Tensing during the traffic stop for a missing license plate. So they're killing people for missing license plates. Those are just a couple of examples of just the Cincinnati Police Department and what they've been involved in with regard to taking lives with no remorse and acquitting their officer and standing alongside their officer and lying for their officer.
Let the processes play out. Let the investigations play out.
Just trust us as we investigate ourselves. We're going to get back to you, I promise. Now, I doubt that would wash if the Cincinnati Police Department, for example, pulled you over for speeding. They said, hey, do you know what you were doing? You were doing 48 and a 25. Give me your license. I'll tell you what, officer, I got something better for you. I'll investigate myself and give me your email address. I'll contact you a couple months, couple years. I'll contact you and let you know what I found out about myself. No, it wouldn't wash, but we're expected to just trust them for their investigations of themselves.
Keep calm, take care of one another, and I can assure you, as the chief of police for Cincinnati, I will ensure you transparency and a thorough and accurate investigation.
You might as well get out the clown makeup, put on the funny suits, park your ass under the big top and start juggling, because that's clownish behavior to trust a police officer to put any level of transparency on the police department and cause any officer to be accountable for their actions. It's laughable. Don't believe you.
This separate session.
Now here's Hinton walking into the courtroom. I want you to take a look at how many cops are on the scene, not to protect, not to make sure that there's justice, not to make sure there's peace, but I'm sure it's all just to intimidate. Watch this.
The Hamilton County Municipal Court is now in session. Judge Tyrone Yates is presiding this morning. We ask that you turn off all cell phones. You may be seated. Please remain quiet during all proceedings.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. First case load out to Rodney Hinton.
Okay.
All right, so now they're going to bring Hinton in, and he walks in with a face that shows no remorse.
Okay, can stand by your public defender.
There's one angle where I think when he's walking out, it's not here. It's not in this video, but he was walking out and he looks to his right and he just eyeballs these cops and says something. I couldn't tell what he said though.
Good morning, Mr. Hinton. Good morning.
He said good morning, Judge. He's very soft-spoken.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right.
Look at this cop here. He just eyeballs him.
Anything as to probable cause?
Yeah, we'll waive probable cause this morning.
Got the thin blue line over his badge right here.
I have submitted designations for John Kennedy and Timothy Bicknell. They will be the attorneys of record handling Mr. Hinton's case. I'll be handling the arraignment this morning.
All right, thank you. Mr. Prosecutor, or anything as to bond?
Wait, as to bond, Your Honor. Thank you. Your Honor, we understand this is a very, very serious, very terrible charge that Mr. Hinton is facing. He has a risk, but he does not have a history, Judge. He has no felonies in his record. His risk assessment score was a 1. He had no juvenile record. He works at UDF. He's married. He's a father. He's a graduate of Purcell Marion. I understand that this is.
Now I understand the rage that he has, but you gotta understand this isn't wisdom. He has a wife. He has children who depend on him, and now, because of his actions, he is never, ever going to get out of jail. And because he's made so many enemies on the police force, he might not live very long at all. So he put his family at a grave, grave disadvantage by doing this right here. But people are getting sick of it. They are getting sick of what the cops are doing to the rest of us. What happens when this starts happening in the dozens every day and the hundreds and thousands? And everybody's like, wait a second, protect and serve my ass. It's a protection and service racket, and you're serving yourselves. And how in the hell can a room full of cops, how can the department afford to have this many people standing around on the clock doing nothing? You must be overworked, overstaffed, and overpaid. We don't even need you guys. You're proving by the fact that you're in this courtroom standing around doing nothing, wasting taxpayer money, not fighting crimes, not stopping rapes, not stopping thefts or murders. You're proving to us that you're expendable. You're not necessary.
Fully charged situation. I understand that Mr. Hinton's son may have been killed by the police earlier in the week. There was a review of that video. I understand that there is a lot of sadness and a lot of anger in this room right now, but in the community at large. And we just ask the court to set a reasonable bond in light of everything to allow the constitutional process to play out.
All right. Thank you. Andy, you've given me pretty...
Look at all those cops. That's just the cops in this room, and that's not even a full camera angle. So what do we got just in this frame right here? 1, 2. We'll count this guy on the other side of the glass. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 cops just in this one frame. 18 cops. By my estimation, when you pan and look on the other side of the glass, there's at least 30 to 40 cops in there. All on the clock. All in uniform. Protecting nothing. It's not about protection here. It's about intimidation.
Services sheet. Is that right this morning? All right. The court has had a chance to review that and his past history. Is there anything from the state through the prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor. Ryan Nelson on behalf of the prosecution.
Could you give us more volume, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Ryan Nelson on behalf of the prosecution. What we believe that the evidence will show is that yesterday, on or about the 2nd of May, the defendant was traveling, I believe it would be eastbound on Martin Luther King Avenue at MLK, I
retired deputy
Woods, at the intersection, I believe immediately north to the rear entrance of the University of Cincinnati. The defendant stops his car. The defendant, in a way that was calculated and premeditated, lined up his car, deliberately accelerated his car, and purposely caused the death of an on-duty deputy sheriff who was doing a detail at that intersection. As such, we are going to be seeking indictment for aggravated murder, and we would request, in accordance with ORC 2937-222, for a no bond hearing. That rule requires that hearing be set within 3 business days, so we are seeking to set that date.
And of course, they'll get that. And here's him walking out of the room in the other news report that I saw.
Was outside his vehicle conducting traffic, ultimately ending his life. Now, the defense explained.
He said something to that cop right there. Watch this. Just complete disdain for every cop that he passes.
Conducting traffic, ultimately ending his life. Now, the defense explained that this has been an emotionally charged week for Hinton after his son was killed by that Cincinnati police officer on Thursday. Meanwhile, Hinton...
I think the guy just went out of his mind. That was his son. All he knows is the Cincinnati Police Department did it. They haven't provided good body camera footage of it. My son is gone, and he decided to avenge his son. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember, comments are monitored by the FBI and the ATF and the CIA. Be careful what you say. But do you think this is an example of karma? Do you think there's a lot of people that are really, really getting sick of the tyrannical actions of local and state police departments as they gun for and fish for the rest of us under the guise of protecting and serving us, when they protect and serve the crap and a lot of times serve the life out of us? Leave your thoughts about this. Is this street justice? What's going on here? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up. And do you think the police departments all across the nation are overstaffed and overpaid? I will see you in the next video.